apart very quickly. We had that happen last year in a couple roads in other parts of the district. After that first snow, man, it was just like, what happened here? And then, we kind of scrambled to at least make it to the spring so we can do something for serious.
If you travel 62 west of Litchfield, or at least west of town proper, if you will, out toward Grayson County High School, you'll see just a huge amount of work underway, including construction of a railroad detour while you rebuild that to go to punch under the road, the railroad. There's some significant utility work that's going on through the Rock Crusher Hill area. Is that project on schedule? Is there an estimated timeline on when we're going to be driving on that? I'd say it's still off in the distance quite a way.
Yeah, and I apologize, Mark. I don't have those dates in front of me here, but yeah, it's on schedule. We haven't had any significant issues. There always change things, especially when you're dealing with other entities like the railroad entity, and those things can get challenging as you go along. But it was pretty well planned through. Everybody was on the same page. We had a lot of meetings before this stuff ever started to make sure everybody knew what everybody else was doing. So we are on schedule at this point, and hopefully we can, we get through the winter here, we can really make some hard progress toward what people will see as the new road when we get into next spring. Then you'll start to see a lot of things coming together.
I'm so curious on that project because, you've heard that there's a roundabout going in there at that intersection, and the elevation is coming up, and the road is going to be still travelable while we raise that elevation. And I just sit back and go, well, now, how does that work? And I suppose I should have become an engineer if I wanted to learn the answer to that.
That's what those guys and gals do. I'm the spokesperson, but I certainly don't do the work. That's for sure. But yeah, that's, and that's the, I hope people understand that's the problem with really getting most work done. People see what they perceive sometimes as a lack of progress or slow pace. The example was the roundabout that was just built over near Walmart. That is a major thing to do while still maintaining traffic.
Sure.
Because that's priority one in that particular sense, is making sure folks still get through there and do that safely. And so that a lot of times adds a lot of length, and it adds, from a construction company standpoint, time equals money, right? So that adds dollars to the program. When we have to maintain traffic, that makes it more expensive. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, I won't say it's easy, but it has to be considerably easier to build a new road that no one drives on than rebuild a road that everyone drives on.
Absolutely.
And especially, Barry Anderson used to say that Monday through Friday, Grayson County High School is the third largest city, or maybe even the second largest city in Grayson County, so just think about the number of people traveling that area and then trying to prepare that area for the next 50 years of transportation and still make sure that people get where they're going every day. It's a kind of an engineering marvel to me.
Yeah. And you hit on something that people just don't think about, right? If you're not in that, you don't make that widget, you don't think about how that widget's made always. So you have to plan, like if you've got a centralized location like a high school that has this huge traffic bulge twice a day, you have to balance between what the need is for those two relatively short periods for the day versus what is, you can't go in there and build an intersection for that is all the time, if you get what I'm saying. So there's always that delicate balance of what you need versus what you have to have and trying to make that feasible.
I have it on good authority that much like Beetlejuice, if you say the word roundabout 3 times, you suddenly appear. I think that's true. That's what I heard. But I also hear that we've talked about one, it'll be opposite of the one that we have with the under construction, but are we going to see more around the byway?
I can't say that for sure, obviously at this point, but folks should know that it's not necessarily a change in philosophy or thinking. It is, times have changed. There are more vehicles. We are trying to move more traffic with building less asphalt or concrete footprint. And one way to do that is to keep people moving. Roundabouts do that. It alleviates the need to build bigger projects away from intersections. And obviously, we really want folks to know the safety aspect. Even if it does cause crashes, those crashes are very rarely ever high impact, high speed. So, that safety aspect that we've talked about so many times before is always there. But moving forward, it just makes sense they're more economic, they're safer. With today's traffic, we're inattentive drivers more than we ever have been in history. cars are different, vehicles are different. We're relying on the technology, the AI technology, the self-driving technology, all that stuff for whatever it might be in the future. These turn out to be sometimes better solutions moving forward than our traditional intersections. So we're trying to think ahead, trying to stay ahead of that curve. It is a predicting the future conundrum, so to speak, a lot of times, but we do the best we can with that. That's all we can do.
In the simplest terms, I try and share with people that roundabouts eliminate T-bones. And if you can eliminate T-bone accidents, if you can take the front of a vehicle away from hitting someone in the side, you're going to reduce injury crashes just exponentially.
And that's right. And, the ones that we have put in, I'm going to say this, of the roundabouts we have changed in the District 4 area, those 11 counties, we have not had a fatality at a roundabout. And, when we look at history before them, there are numbers of them. You just have to go back 4 or 5 years to see those. And we haven't had them since. Now, relatively speaking, it's a small sample size of time, and we hope that trend continues, and we expect that trend to continue. But it is very difficult to argue with the safety numbers. I may not like them. Folks may not like them, but again, and we can dislike what we do like and don't like, but It's hard to argue that data. It just really is.
Are you all still using the old school traffic counter? You throw the hose against over the roadway and you measure the traffic count, or are you now using some more sophisticated type of technology to measure traffic throughput?
Our higher volume routes, interstates, parkways, and even some of the U.S. highways now are getting traffic loops. Just like we detect vehicles at a red light or a signal, It counts vehicles as they go in using a magnetic field of that vehicle. So those are installed in the pavement in a lot of higher volume routes, and so we can literally plug in a module and take that sample whenever we want. But for your rural routes, the routes that we take every other year, for the most part, that's what we do on your less traveled rural routes. We still send somebody out and they put a manual counter out there with that little hose and it counts them manually. So it's a common.
And that's one of the metrics then that you all use to decide maybe modifications or enhancements or improvements that might be off in the future?
Sure. And it's just like anybody else with any other budget. You take that money, you spend it where it has to be spent and where it makes the most impact with the most people. And again, that's always a delicate act of balance as well. But absolutely. Traffic counts are a big part. A huge part of planning and when we implement these projects.
Well,
absolutely.
From a budgetary standpoint, like most households, you have your must do's, your need to's, and you should do's, and I imagine your have to's. Your must do's obviously get the majority of the money. So one of the reasons you stopped by this morning, one of the reasons that we connected, is you asked me last week, is Grayson County one of those counties that's going to have a full-fledged slate of candidates next year? And I said, yeah, absolutely. It's shaping up. We've got the same Senate races. All 6 congressional seats are up for grabs. 100 of the state rep seats, half of the Senate seats. So yes, we are one of those. I wouldn't normally think, well, what does that have to do with the transportation cabinet? But it does.
It absolutely does. And for the things we've just been talking about, winter weather, and when we get into spring, a lot of times we're dealing with flooding and there can be any number of issues. And then all of a sudden I turn around and we're getting requests from folks to move signs. And a lot of times it's political signs. Those seem to be the ones that really get, nested in certain areas at specific times before primaries and general elections. But real estate signs, yard sale signs, they're always a big thing. And we've gone through winter and then all of a sudden I haven't, sent out any notice. We haven't really talked about it. We haven't publicized what those rules and regulations are. And then we have to go back and tell people we're taking them down. So as we get into winter, trying to plan ahead a little bit, I'm doing this in a lot of our counties where these election cycles are really big with local cycles, just trying to tell people you can't put signs on. The bottom line is you can't put signs on right away, period. You can't put yard sale signs, real estate signs. Now it's done. People speed too, right? But we have to manage those as we can. And if we get complaints or somebody, and it doesn't matter why the complaint, if it's sight distance, if they just don't want them there, if it's a property owner, we have to come out and do that. And that's typically when we will go through a whole corridor or go through a whole intersection and clean that whole area up. We're not trying to be very difficult and hard to deal with signs in general, but generally if people keep them out of sight distance and they're not really encroaching on anybody's land, if nobody's complaining, we're not going to go through and just take them all up. But if we get requests and we have to, we have to go clean up that whole area. That's the fair thing to do at that point. So just want folks to be aware when they put political signs out for either their own run, or if they're supporting a candidate, if they're having a yard sale, or if you're doing a real estate, they need to be off that right of way. So where is right of way? On our parkways and interstates, it's marked clearly by those fences. It's not so easy to tell when you get out on our other roads. There is a legal definition that is the toe of the slope or otherwise marked, and that's very crude. But if you will generally look at most roads, they'll have utility lines running on one side or another of them. Property fence line is sometimes there. Those utility poles are typically set just on the right-of-way side, the roadway side of a boundary.
Okay.
So if you're putting a general good rule is if you're putting a sign between where you see a line of power lines, telephone lines overhead, between there and the pavement, you're probably on right-of-way. It needs to be off right-of-way.
And that includes nailing things to utility poles.
It absolutely does. And that's another thing for the line workers. What are the chances they're going to climb that pole? But they have to climb a pole sometime today or when there's a weather event. Sure. And if it has signs strapped all to it, it becomes, they're using bucket trucks and other things. I get that, but it does present them a danger of they're already fighting enough elements. Don't let a sign hanging on a pole be something else they have to fight with. Those are not allowed. Don't put streamers, don't put signs on stop signs. We want people to see the stop sign,
right?
Not the happy birthday sign or the anniversary sign. I get that people need those markers, but try to do that in other ways.
I know that the city of Litchfield has a collection bin that when they make a sweep, they gather them up and at their public works building, you can go by and retrieve those. How does the transportation cabinet handle the collected signage?
We'll say the same thing. We'll take those there and we'll hold them for a month. That's what we say is a calendar month. So, folks can come by and pick them up there. And if not, then we recycle them or discard them in some way. So that's the basic idea and the policy behind it. Again, we want folks to pay attention. The more clutter we put on roadsides, especially at intersections where we already have, there's already a history of wrecks here. The last thing we really want is 50 Levantine signs out there to take attention away or distract something. Yeah, when somebody needs to be focusing on traffic. Whether
it's the nailing to the utility poles or the throwing up like mushrooms the signs, I just sort of think, what if we all did that, right? If everyone did that, it would be ineffective. And then one last question: when you've got a roadway like 62 or Elizabethtown Road, which is it's a state road, but it's within the city of Litchfield. Who's doing the policing on that signage? Is that the city? Is that the transportation cabinet? Who would that be?
Well, it's typically the ownership of the road. So it's going to be our maintenance crews. If we have an issue, I'm going to call the Grayson County maintenance crew and say, hey, we need to go clean up this intersection, that intersection, this corridor. We need to get the signs up through there. So yeah, it's going to be the state crew that takes care of state routes, and city and county will take care of their respective routes if they have to do that as well. So that's typically the way that works. Yeah.
So I love getting caught up with you. Love chatting with you anytime. To be honest, I don't want to have to talk to you many times this winter.
I hope so. That works out well too. We've had an interesting year weather-wise with all the flooding, and I don't know that I can't remember. I talked to so many folks. I don't remember if we talked back in the spring or not. But hopefully it's business as usual, and you'll get my updates, and we don't have to do anything special.
Absolutely. As always, appreciate your time. We'll catch up soon. Okay.
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's Chris Jesse from the Transportation giving us a good update. We'll be back with today's Did You Know coming up here on In the Know.
Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
K105 weather from the Wave Storm Tracking Team is brought to you by Youngblood Excavating Snowplow Team.
Twin Lakes weather.
Showers and thunderstorms remain in the forecast for today into tonight before we dry out into early tomorrow morning. Some of the thunderstorms we see for this afternoon and evening could produce some heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and even some small hail, so remain weather aware. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
Did you know Vatican City is so small, it literally contains 5.9 popes per square mile. So most of the popes, the Vatican City is so small, it contains 5.9 popes per square mile.
Popes? I thought you said cokes.
No.
That's an odd.
Yeah, that's an odd statistic.
Yes.
No, it's so most of the popes, when they're laid to rest, are there within the Vatican. So when they divide it out by the number that are permanently entombed there, plus, Pope Leo, then you get 5.9 in Vatican City. Ariana Grande is making the press junket, of course, for the release of Wicked later this week, Wicked for Good. The attacker has been sentenced to jail. They were in Singapore for the premiere. Say again?
That was quick.
Yes, I thought it was very quick too. Singapore justice system must move much faster than the old United States justice system. Singapore District Judge Christopher Goh said that who had crashed into at other celebrity events that his act was premeditated. So this is not the first time this person has done this. So that might be one of the reasons that justice was a little more swift. But she's okay. And so I am part of a pretty small fraternity of people. We are part of a pretty small fraternity of people who have seen Wicked for Good. We got an opportunity to see.
Well, not me. I'm not in that club.
A special early screening. So 6 of us, Mom, you got Taylor, so Mom, my mom, Alea, Mama Christie, and then you got Taylor there. They are, they're decked out in their pink and green, and you got one Elphaba and one Galinda there. They asked who I was, and I was Chistery because I was wearing blue, so I was one of the Blue Monkeys, and I think so was Cameron. But it was great to see it, and we saw it in IMAX. And I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone because it doesn't open until Friday, but next week we will talk more about it and then also give Miss Buckles an opportunity when she gets back tomorrow or Thursday. She can weigh in about her experience, but it was nice. Had a little dinner, went to the movie, and I shared with you all, it was at dinner last night. I told Alea, I said, remember 5 days ago when you said this is going to be the longest 5 days ever? She said, it was. I was like, well, it's here, finally. Now, we did we had to break down the movie afterward and our, et cetera, et cetera. I was delighted to tell her this morning that Ariana Grande on her press tour says that you shouldn't automatically rule out a third movie to the delight of one Miss Alea, like that could be a possibility. I did not want, I needed to come up with some good news on that front because I looked it up to realize that it's not until this time of 27 that Frozen 3 is coming out. So we don't have something off there. Moana is getting a live action remake. So in addition to the classic Moana and Moana 2 animated films, they are going to do a live action. They have cast an 18-year-old Australian actress to play the part, and looks like that will be coming July 10 of 2026. So this was news to me. I guess it's been in the works for a while if it's coming out in July, but she will be all about that as well. Speaking of Ariana Grande, she's going to host the season finale, the Christmas episode. It'll be the last news show of the calendar year. SNL has released the rest of the schedule for the calendar year. Ariana Grande will host. Cher will be the musical guest on December 20th. It will mark Ariana's third time hosting. As for Cher, she'll be taking her second bow as musical guest, but her first appearance since 1987. So, like, sits during the I Could Turn Back Time. Yes, she is. She doesn't necessarily look like she's getting up there, but she is. Melissa McCarthy has already been announced December 6th as the host. Josh O'Connor will take his debut turn on December 13th, and Lily Allen will be the musical guest for that installment. So,
do you know how old Cher is?
She's 79.
Yep, got it. Nailed it. Wow. Impressive.
I didn't think she had turned 80 yet, but I knew she was pushing. She had to be really close. In May. All right. Well, so she'll get an opportunity. I don't know what she's going to sing. It'll be interesting to see what
they'll probably do a duet, right?
What she chooses. You would think, and maybe even a Christmas song duet. That would, make a lot of sense. That would be a smart thing. It'd be a good duet. It'd be classic. Got to get to a break. Today's Point to Ponder, Pearl of Wisdom, chart toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
The silent treatment has been around as long as marriage, which is ironic because cutting off communication from your spouse is probably the worst thing you can do if your marriage is in conflict, especially if you believe like Otu Katayama, a Japanese man who stopped speaking to his wife for 20 years. Journalists who reported on the story say Katayama grew increasingly jealous as each of his children was born, and his wife gave them more and more of her attention. In what can only be classified as a world-class fit, Katayama stopped communicating with her for 2 decades. He'd nod and grunt at her, but he refused to talk. His silence ended only after his now adult son, who had never heard his parents speak to each other, contacted a television show who arranged an intervention. After 20 years, Katayama finally spoke to his wife, apologized, and expressed gratitude for her dedication to their family. Whether it's 20 years or 20 minutes, the silent treatment is no way to go. It'll deepen your conflict and drive a stake through the heart of your relationship. Good communication, on the other hand, will open the door to grace and empower you to work through your problems together as a couple. If your marriage has hit a rough patch, talk to each other. If communication is broken down, talk with one of our counselors here at Focus on the Family. The number is 1-800-A-FAMILY. I'm Jim Daly.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day, I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5348.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5348.
EMB's point to ponder for today. What's the best Thanksgiving-themed movie? I don't know many of them. I know what my favorite is, and so that's what I say. That's the best. But
Say the Peanuts.
I need input from others on what the best. The best for me is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Got John Candy and Steve
I don't
Martin.
know that I've ever actually seen that.
It's really good. And two legendary actors. Are there any others that are like just Thanksgiving specific? I didn't go to the trouble.
Are you
of looking
counting
it
the
up.
Peanuts?
I don't count the Peanuts because it's 30 minutes. I count it as a program, not as a movie.
I mean, I'm just looking here. 70 best Thanksgiving movies according to Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just looking. I'm gonna just scroll through here and see if. Yeah, it's putting on here Miracle on 34th Street. That's not a.
Miracle on 34th Street happens. There's a reason that gets classified as that, and it's not one that I watch very often. But I think it's because it happens around the parade.
It's also saying Rocky.
Rocky is not a Thanksgiving movie, I
No.
don't think.
No.
It's not my recollection of Rocky.
Paul Blart. There you go. I'll say Paul Blart because it
Paul
happens on Black
Blart
Friday.
is a Thanksgiving movie? Okay, I didn't realize
I mean,
that.
it happens on Black Friday.
So festive. Oh, yeah, it does happen on Black Friday. All right, that makes sense. Television tonight, NCIS is on CBS. Center Stage Countdown to the CMA Awards is on ABC. Dancing with the Stars, Prince Night on ABC. And then, of course, you have, I guess, YouTube TV people are happy because they can watch, since ESPN is back on YouTube TV, they can watch the ballgame.
It's a big broadcast booth divided tonight, basketball broadcast booth divided tonight at Diddle Arena, right? That the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers take on Bethel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I can't. I have something at the high school, so I can't join in Mr. Tallest Banker we know, who is going to be cheering on his Bethel Tigers, I believe.
Is he going? Is he going to the game?
He is going.
Okay,
he is going. In fact, he's probably got like a seat on the bench with them.
I was going to say,
he's a member of the Hall of Fame.
His ticket must have been comped.
Probably. You would think so.
Today's highlight in history. This day, 1978, U.S. Representative Leo Ryan of California and 4 others were killed on an airstrip in Jonestown, Guyana. Birthdays today, Margaret Atwood is 86, Linda Evans is 83, Kevin Nealon is 72, Warren Moon is 69, Elizabeth Perkins is 65, Owen Wilson is 57, Megyn Kelly is 55, David Ortiz is 50 today. I just like being on the record that I'm not discriminating him from the list just because he's a Red Sox. Nasim Pedrad is 44 today. Damon Wayans Jr. is 43 today.
Big Poppy's a good one, too. He could really hit it.
Oh, NFL quarterback Caleb Williams is 24 today. All right, let's find chart toppers. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I'm surprised he's 24 one way or another. I don't know. Chart toppers. Oh, by the way, George Gallup was born this day in 1901 and Johnny Mercer in 1909. From 1950, this is Hank Snow. I'm moving on. All right, thank you, Hank. Let's go to 1959.
I met you.
This is Fair and Young.
Country girl, you didn't have a thing. I fell
And Country Girl. All right, Sam, I think it's getting better for you. 1968.
Hey Jude, don't make
Good one.
it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to
You could just play this for the rest of chart toppers, and I wouldn't be upset.
Well, we don't have enough time because it's 7 minutes and we only have about 2.5 minutes left.
Well, you could play 2.5 minutes of it, and I'd be very happy.
1977, Heat Wave #1 with Boogie Nights.
And nothing against this song, but it is definitely not. Hey,
It's not Hey Jude?
no.
Heat Wave's
nowhere
Boogie
near.
Nights is not as classic as Hey Jude, huh? It's,
Not on the same.
I figured you would be all in on Boogie Nights. Steady Money, #1 in 1986. Okay, let's move forward. We got time for 2 more. Mariah Carey and Fantasy, #1 this date in 1995. If you've ever wanted to see Mariah Carey roller skate, this was your opportunity. All right, 21 years ago. She also went to a carnival and rode a roller coaster if you wanted to see that. If you weren't down with the roller skating, there were other things you could see. 21 years ago today, Usher and Alicia Keys. It's Sam's favorite Usher Alicia Keys duet. My Boo.
It's clear for everyone to see. Ooh, baby.
You gotta rock away to this one. Oh, come on.
Oh, My Boo. Wrecking Ball, Miley Cyrus in 2013, Taylor Swift, Anti-Hero 3 years ago today. They're your chart toppers. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today says this: diplomacy is the art of letting someone else get your way. Diplomacy is the art of letting someone else get your way. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know, and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
The Twin Lakes best mix is WKHG.